okay, your appraisal is done, so now what? Well, typically what happens after an appraisal is you're going to get the report. Sometimes it can take up to 10 days. One of two things are going to happen. Well, one of three things. The appraisal amount is going to come in at value. If that's the case, that means that the house appraised for the contracted price, you're good to go. You can move on and hopefully have a successful closing. The other thing that can happen is if the appraisal amount comes back higher than the contracted amount. For example, if you have a contracted amount for a house, $300,000, and your appraisal amount comes back at $315,000. Well, that's awesome for the buyer because you just got $15,000 of instant equity in your house. So good job. The third thing that can happen is the appraisal value comes back lower. And that is why it is a contingency to the entire contract, because deals can fall out over appraisal value. What happens is the lender is only going to loan on the appraisal amount. For example, if you have a house that's under contract for $300,000 and your appraisal comes back at $275,000, the lender is only going to loan $275,000. So somebody needs to make up that extra $25,000. The seller either needs to drop the price, the buyer needs to come out of pocket extra, or you need to meet in the middle. Something needs to happen in order to save that deal to where the contracted price is agreed upon by both sides and you can move towards a successful closing. So hopefully it's something where both sides can be realistic and come to an agreement. Sometimes the buyer's not going to have the extra cash. Sometimes the seller's going to say, you know what, we had 10 offers and we just took this one in the first couple of days. We don't have to drop it $25,000. We can put it back on the market, and the buyer would have to come up with that extra if they want the house. If they don't have it, well, then both sides go their separate ways and the deal's done. So appraisals can make or break a deal. It's always kind of a scary situation. Some appraisals can come back way off. Excuse me. If that's the case and the appraisal comes back way off, you can contest it. You can try and fight it. You can fill out a form and bring your comps and say this is why this is too low. For example, you could also order a second appraisal. Somebody's going to have to pay for that second appraisal, but sometimes that can happen, and that second appraisal hopefully will be where it needs to be in order to save the deal. So that's what happens after appraisal.